ADR, promoting dialogue.
It's midday in Dakar, 1 p.m. in Abuja. Good afternoon, and many thanks for staying tuned to West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM and around the world on wadr.org. Welcome to Newslink. Here are the top stories. Prime Minister of Senegal, Ousmane Sonko, and French opposition figure Mélenchon commits to reshaping relations between Senegal and France.
Today, we are at a crucial turning point where the need to break away from these historical patterns and promote fair and symmetrical partnership is of unprecedented urgency.
President Diomaye Faye is said to arrive in Ghana as part of his strategic visits in Africa to consolidate cooperative links. Chad's Constitutional Council affirms General Muhammad Idris Déby's win in the May 6 presidential election, and Benin's army kills 8 jihadists in the north of the country. Please stay tuned for details of these stories and more.
Here is Abdullahi Hassan with Newslink.
Many thanks for joining us and a warm welcome to our listeners in Gambia, Ghana, Liberia, and Sierra Leone. Senegalese Prime Minister and leader of the ruling party, PASTEF, Ousmane Sonko, and French left-wing leader Jean-Luc Mélenchon have pledged to collaborate within the scope of their political party's activities. This pledge comes as Mélenchon concludes his 3-day official visit to Dakar today at the invitation of PASTEF. Speaking at the joint press conference at the University of Dakar, the two politicians confirmed their commitment to focus on reshaping the relations between Africa and Europe, with a specific emphasis on enhancing ties between Senegal and France. It should be noted that Paris and Dakar have enjoyed decades of mutual and beneficial cooperation. Etia Tisu has won this report.
The Prime Minister of Senegal, Ousmane Sonko, is advocating for a review of relations between Africa and Europe, particularly with France. According to the leader of the PASTEF party, a new partnership is essential.
Today, we are at a crucial turning point where the need to break away from these historical patterns and promote fair and symmetrical partnership is of unprecedented urgency. We must also demonstrate foresight in the face of contemporary challenges such as migration, fair trade, not to mention the issue of economic partnership agreements. This calls for a concerted and resolute approach, and only a shared will for justice and genuine partnership will enable us to overcome these challenges and build a better future for our people.
French opposition figure Jean-Luc Mélenchon, who came in third in the last presidential election in France and is preparing for the 2027 election, aligns with the vision of PASTEF. The leader of France Insoumise promises to reform France's relations with Africa.
We have recognized that the networks you mentioned often link to imperialism and occasionally to my homeland. Sovereignty and independence go hand in hand, as genuine sovereignty requires independence. Here, independence is more than a geopolitical status. It represents breaking free from dependencies.
Accompanied by a delegation of MPs and members of his party, Jean-Luc Mélenchon will conclude his visit to Senegal this Friday by signing numerous partnership agreements with Ousmane Sonko's political party. The details of these agreements have not been disclosed.
Eti Atisu with that report. Senior officials from Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger held talks on Thursday in Niamey to discuss the draft proposal for the establishment of the Confederation of the Alliance of Sahel States, known as AES. Yesterday's meeting is part of the preparations for a larger conference of foreign ministers from Bamako, Ouagadougou, and Niamey, all part of the new initiative known as the Alliance for Sahel State. Legend Ogebirika for details.
During the meeting, the senior officials of the Alliance of Sahel State examined the draft treaty for the creation of the AES Confederation. They worked on the draft regulations of the College of Heads of State of the Confederation. Here is the head of the Burkina Faso delegation, Saidou Zango.
This meeting is especially important as it marks the final phase leading up to the inaugural summit of the AES College of Heads of State.
The head of the Nigerian delegation hosting this meeting, Adani Ilo, sought to provide reassurance on the legal and political aspects which are important points in the creation of the AES Confederation.
Ces deux textes nous permettront assurément de constituer la base.
This document will undoubtedly enable us to establish the normative and institutional framework for the construction of a confederation deeply rooted in Sahel and SAN. After signing the document, we are called upon to give a new face to the Confederation of Violent Sahelan States.
Appelé à donner un corps, un visage à la Confédération de l'Alliance des États du Sahel.
This meeting by the AES senior officials is taking place as a prelude to the meeting of foreign ministers from the member countries of this organization, which includes Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso.
Ogibirika, with that report, still in the Sahel region, the Constitutional Council in Chad has affirmed General Mohamed Idriss Déby's victory in the May 6 presidential election. The council upheld the results from the electoral body, which declared him the winner with 61% of the votes in the first round. The appeals from his main opponent, Prime Minister Success Masra and former Prime Minister Albert Pahemi Pedake, were dismissed. Nadiri Tete completes the story.
The Constitutional Council extensively scrutinized the rationale behind rejecting the appeals challenging the election results. Prime Minister Success Masra, who came in second, demanded the annulment of the election, but the council found insufficient evidence to support his claims of electoral fraud. Success Masra had self-declared victory in the first round. On the other hand, former Prime Minister Albert Pahemi Padake's appeal, seeking the annulment of votes in 5 provinces, lacked substantial evidence, according to the Council. The Constitutional Council has officially confirmed Transitional President Mohamed Idriss Déby's win with 61% of the votes. Success Masra secured over 18% of the votes, and Albert Pahemi Padake secured nearly 17%. The voter turnout stood at slightly over 75%. Success Masra, acknowledging the lack of legal recourse, has shifted towards appeasement, urging for unity and service to the people. Meanwhile, Albert Pahemi Padake's camp, while expressing their disappointment over the outcome of the appeal, has accepted the council's decision.
Nadiri Tete with that report. And now to Benin, military sources announced that troops killed 8 jihadists in the commune of Karimama in northern Benin on Tuesday near the border with Niger. The army says it seized a significant amount of military equipment, including weapons, motorcycles, and a substantial quantity of fuel after the confrontations. While Benin has historically faced challenges along its northern border with Burkina Faso, the situation along its border with Niger has also become concerning, particularly following the coup against President Mohamed Bazoum in July 2023. To enhance border security, Benin initiated the recruitment of an additional 5,000 soldiers as part of the Mirador operation. In a move to bolster the country's fight against terrorism, the European Union announced in late April the allocation of €47 million for the purchase of materials and equipment to support the country.
More stories coming up on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
We're live on WADR.org and on Facebook at WADR English Service. President Bola Tinubu of Nigeria announcement to suspend the controversial 0.5% cybersecurity fee on electronic banking transactions has sparked mixed reactions. The policy, which was introduced by the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN), has generated widespread criticism and public outcry. In the following report, WADR's Usman Omar engages with experts and citizens to explore the implications of the policy reversal on economic reforms.
Following the suspension announcement, some Nigerians have commended the Tinubu administration for its responsive approach while others have criticized the frequent flip-flops on government policies, citing uncertainty and a lack of conviction as major obstacles to sustainable growth and development.
We do not have evidence-based policies. We don't grill our system to evolve policies on the basis of reality. And the people who are to grill it, get the data, develop the analysis, come up with statements of reality are academics. And there's a big lacuna, there's a big gap between our academia and then the policy-making system.
Government has to stand firm. Policies of government should be thought through, and it should not be half-baked in the sense you are quick to rush to issue statements, policies, circulars, and executive orders when you have not actually think through them.
An economist, Aliyu Ilas, said while the president should be commended for listening to the cries of the masses, he has also abused his power in a sense.
The reversal of cybersecurity levy actually shows that the president is sensitive to matters of taste. That means he has seen a lot of people taking a position that is against the policy decision. And I must also tell you that though president is also abusing the power of legislative to an extent, because it's an act that must be taken into cognizance by CBN.
The Cybersecurity Act in Nigeria, also known as Cybersecurity Crimes Prohibition and Prevention Act, was passed in 2015. This act is a comprehensive legal framework that prohibits, prevents, detects, prosecutes, and punishes cybercrimes in Nigeria. But while the act says the 0.5% levy was to be paid by companies involved in cybersecurity businesses, the government decided to tax even individuals, a decision that caused widespread condemnation. For Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, Usman Omar reporting from Abuja.
Meanwhile, Senegal's President Bassirou Diomaye Faye is expected in Ghana today as part of a strategic visit which aims to consolidate cooperative links with Senegal. He's expected to be received by his Ghanaian counterpart, Nana Akufo-Addo. However, during his meeting with President Bola Tinubu in Nigeria, they discussed measures to address banditry, terrorism, and other criminal activities plaguing the West African sub-region. Tinubu stated these at the presidential villa in Abuja, according to a statement by his media advisor, Njure Ngalale. The Nigerian leader praised the relationship between the two countries, which benefits several sectors of their economies. Still in Ghana, some media practitioners on the African continent have expressed concern over increasing self-censorship within their respective media spaces. They warn the development could pose a risk if not addressed. Between January 2023 and May 2024, 14 African journalists have been killed while discharging their core mandate of reporting. 67 others are currently languishing behind bars in prisons. The Africa Editors Forum disclosed the statistics at the ongoing Africa Media Convention. Speaking at the sidelines of the media convention currently ongoing in Ghana's capital Accra, the media practitioners called for an empowered media that will expose corrupt practices and champion Africa's climate story.
The numbers do not necessarily reflect in the extent of freedom. If we want to look at it correlatively with the number of media platforms, the number of journalists, media practitioners that we have, it should translate into greater space for us to do bolder journalism. But it is still just a few, threatened ones that are doing those bold kind of work. There is a creeping self-censorship in our spaces, even if our owners are not threatening us, but journalists are becoming wiser, because if the investment in their safety, for instance, is low, and they are checking the political environment, they are checking the environment, they know that, listen, I need to be alive, to stay alive, to tell my story. And so even if you're not getting a threat, you're conscious about that. And I think it's a worrying development that we need to tackle.
You are listening to Newslink here on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM and online at wadr.org. Here's a reminder of our top stories. Prime Minister of Senegal, Ousmane Sonko, and French opposition leader Mélenchon commits to reshaping relations between Senegal and France. Chad's Constitutional Council affirms General Mahamad Idriss Déby's win in the May 6 presidential elections. Benin's army kills 8 jihadists in the north of the country. Still ahead in the news, the World Food Programme, WFP, installs diners and schools in Senegal's southern region. We also have the guest interview and a sports update. Please stay with us.
Fresh and breaking news all the time. Hear it first as the news breaks, only on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
Many thanks for staying with us, and we are back in Senegal, specifically in the Wadr region, where the World Food Programme, WFP, has supported some schools with installation of school diners. This project, entitled Model Canteen, aims not only for the development of students, but also for the preservation of the environment. Augustine Coley reports.
Here at the Saleh Wallon Elementary School in the Wadr region, over 350 students receive daily hot meal consisting of 3 breakfasts per week. WFP provides hot meals in partnership with the government of Senegal and other international donors. It is a pilot project which involves the installation of school canteens where students can eat local produce prepared by the school. Sana Sanya is the director of the Saleh Wallon School.
Without the project, it's a nightmare for the children because the school polarizes 7 villages. There are villages that are almost 4 kilometers away. So if the child has to come back to take his meal, it becomes difficult. But with the canteen, the child, every day that I do, he eats and stays at school, and that even reduces the rate of abandonment.
Bantankontuyil is another village located a few kilometers from Wadr. Like Saleh Wallon, this village school also has a garden where fruit and vegetable species are grown. It is an organic project managed by the population but supervised by the school director Mahamadou Aziz Mbalo.
After the harvest, a part is used for the consumption of the students and the other part is sold. This part sold to make the market premature, sustainable. Everything is managed by the community. The money is kept by the community. We are only there as a catalyst.
The Bantankontuyil Primary School covers 8 villages with more than 550 students who pay 100 CFA francs monthly to the school canteen. Mamadou Sabali is the village chief.
We welcome the project. It is truly ambitious. We thank WFP and its partners. They helped us keep our children in school. We harvest fruits and vegetables. This impacts us positively.
According to the World Food Programme WFP, the Wadr region has a total of 85 school canteens. Meanwhile, representatives of the Senegalese Ministry of Education acknowledged the need for the government of Senegal to better support school canteens so that the project can be expanded to middle and secondary establishments.
Augustine Coley reporting from Senegal's Wadr region.
Politics, analysis on major news, social matters, and all. This is a guest.
Our guest segment focuses on Chad, a Central African nation that is transitioning soon to democratic rule after nearly 3 years of military leadership. General Mahamad Déby Itno's victory was validated by the Constitutional Council after securing 61% votes in the first round of the elections held on May 6. First runner-up, Prime Minister Success Masra, has continuously rejected the outcome, alleging electoral fraud. But what next for the elected president? Morgana Sogba responds.
Well, what next does not depend only on him as a president. It also depends on the citizen and mostly the opposition. And when it comes to the opposition, the one standing actually on a good level is definitely Mr. Masra, Success Masra, who will play a key role in how things unfold in the country throughout the leadership of Mr. Déby. If Masra comes down and is capable of holding back the people who have managed to stand for him and to support him, even though the election appears to be contested. There are some serious allegations coming from his side. If he succeeds in holding them back, definitely President Deby will have to lead peacefully. So the first target will be the cohesion, social cohesion for Mr. Deby, and the second one will definitely be how to uplift the economical situation of the people, because poverty is still being a big challenge.
You actually mentioned a key point here, which I think for experts, some suggested that whatever is happening right now with Success Masra and his camp is more like a game play, while others also said he has lost credibility already. But either ways, do you see Success Masra leading towards the new government eventually?
That will be the total suicidal move as far as his political ambitions are concerned.
How is this suicidal for his political ambition?
Yes, it's going to be suicidal because after the first move, he lost a lot of support from the people. And that could explain the situation we are facing now with his core as being running for presidential election is concerned. But he made the people who supported him for this last presidential election believe that he is standing as an opposition leader and he has the ambition to develop a different approach into leadership. So if he goes back to President Deby's leadership right now, the little amount of credibility he had left will definitely move, and he will not have that credibility at all anymore. And the people will be looking for a different leader, for a different opposition that can really stand as opposition leader in the country.
Do you think that the transition now to civilian rule will enhance bilateral relations between N'Djamena and the international community?
Well, it is important to highlight the fact that right here, this election is definitely, it looks like a formality, because when you look at what happened when the son, Deby, took over the leadership of the father, most of the powerful countries, in quotes, did not really come out against the took over, and most of them did not slow down significantly their relationship with Chad. So the relationship kept on going. And this new formality will definitely enhance the cooperation with all the institutions of Bretton Woods, if we might say that, and any bilateral cooperation that were not that much dynamic or officialized. If not, when you look at it deeper, you realize that Chad has been having partners since the transition period, and this situation is just, when you look at it, you believe that it is democracy, but deep inside, you are grounded to have some doubt, because the same person who was the leader of the transition is the same that is being currently approved as the civilian leader. And this is one of the challenges that this democratic transition could bring. If it ever comes out that he is not the right leader for the people, that he doesn't value the interests of the people, we will have a problem with the expression of the will of the people. But if it turns out that definitely Deby is the one that the people really wanted, and he has been attending to the needs of the people and to the development of the country, then we can praise the democratic transition.
Morgan Asogba, an international relations expert and Newslink contributor. It's now time for sports update with Sankule Janko.
Hello, a warm welcome and thank you for joining us. Esperance of Tunis will host Egyptian giants Al Ahly in the first leg of the final of CAF Champions League on Saturday. This fixture, dubbed the Maghreb Derby, promises to be a stellar, with the Tunisian side seeking to capitalize on their home advantage against record all-time winners Al Ahly in Tunis. Esperance will be eager to secure the first leg victory against Al Ahly, while the Egyptian giants aim to assert their dominance before the return leg. Elsewhere, Zamalek will host Moroccan side RS Berkane in the second leg of the final of CAF Confederation Cup in Cairo on Sunday. Zamalek must capitalize on their home advantage to overturn the 2-1 first leg deficit against RS Berkane. The Moroccan side, meanwhile, will be eager to secure the result that would hand them the title ahead of Zamalek. A draw would be enough for RS Berkane to reclaim the title they won in 2019. Meanwhile, CAF and Puma have unveiled a new match ball, Ola, for the finals of Champions League and Confederation Cup on Saturday and Sunday respectively. Ola will be used this weekend, starting in Tunis when Esperance Sportif de Tunis host Al Ahly of Egypt in the first leg of the CAF Champions League final, and on Sunday when Zamalek host RS Berkane in the second leg of the CAF Confederation Cup at the Cairo International Stadium according to the CAF official website. Ola, which means wealth, health and respect in Yoruba, and rise and success in Arabic, was chosen to symbolize the dynamic and energetic nature of African football. Embodying the spirit of Africa, Ola's design is inspired by the continent's vibrant colors, art and traditions. And that's it for sports. It's back to you.
Sports was brought to you by Sankule Janko. And with that, we've come to the end of this edition of Newslink here on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. Thank you for listening, and many thanks to Maudou Diouf and Mustafa Sek for the technical support. Do interact with us via social media platforms X, formerly Twitter, Instagram at WADR News, and on Facebook, WADR English Service. We also stream live on WADR.org. I am Abdullah Hassan. Good afternoon.
And many thanks to you for listening to Newslink via Hot 104.3 FM, New FM.